Hello and thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to tie the Cascade, a shrimp fly made famous by Allie Gowans. It's very similar to Allie's shrimp with just a couple little differences. But here we go. First I'm going to start out with some white thread. You don't really need white thread for this fly because you're not tying under a material that will show the color when wet, like floss. Will show the color beneath it when it gets wet. But I like white for this because we have a partial tinsel body, and if the tinsel gets nicked or frayed, you'll have white show through, which is less obvious than black, but you could do the whole thing in black. So the tail is a mixture of yellow and orange bucktail. Not too much. You just want to roll it in your fingers a bit to mix it together. And the length should be about anywhere from 1.5 to 2 times the length of the shank. By the way, this is a size 6 Daiichi 2441. So tie that down. There's some fibers I'm not really crazy about. We'll pull out. We got our tail. Now you can add flash to the tail if you want. You don't have to. I tend to add flash a fair amount because I figure if I don't want it in there, I can always cut it out. But you can't really add it after the fly has been tied. So you might as well have it in there and remove it if you don't want the flash in there. This is just 3 strands of pearl crystal flash. And I'm going to trim them to the length of the tail. Now we're going to tie in our rib, which is oval silver tinsel. Please excuse my dog who's barking like crazy outside. We're going to tie down the tinsel. We're going to wind the thread back up to the halfway point of the shank. Now, this is up to you what you want to use for the body material. Silver tinsel is the original, what's called for in the original recipe, flat silver tinsel. I prefer using braid just because it seems to take abuse a little bit better. So this is mini flat braid in holographic silver. Again, it's up to you. You can use regular silver, holographic silver, your choice. So I'm going to wrap this to the midpoint of the body. Trim that. Now is probably a good time as any to tie off the white thread and switch to black. So just whip finish that. Start our black thread. Just going to make a little base layer of black to go underneath the forward part of the body. Now, the front half of the body is usually black floss, but you could use yarn, you could use stretchable nylon, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use black Unistretch instead of floss. If you're tying a lot of these, it helps to load your Unistretch in a bobbin to make tying quicker. Gonna tie that off. Fairly happy with the body. So now I'm going to run the oval silver tinsel rib across the body. Take 3 turns of tinsel in each section usually for a fly this size. tie this off, trim the tinsel. Now for the wing, typically most people use black squirrel tail. You could use black bear hair, any kind of black hair, Arctic fox. I have a fox mask that was dyed black that will tie up to about a size 6 to size 4 hook at most. This is terrific wing material, so I'm going to use this. Trim the butt ends. It compresses nicely, so you'll get a nice small head. Forgive the phone ringing in the background. We've got phones ringing, dogs barking. Okay, now for the hackle. Now, I'm using yellow and orange rooster hackle that's been folded. Now, I'm not going to show you how I fold in this video here, but in the comments section, I'll provide a link that gives you a folding tutorial. I fold with the scissors and 2 pairs of hackle pliers, and it makes folding a hackle very, very easy. A few turns to tie down the hackle. I like to wrap with hackle pliers because it gives me a little more control, and you can kind of help those fibers backwards if you need to as you wrap the hackle. Just going to take 2 or 3 turns because we're also going to use an orange hackle. Tie this off. Here's the orange hackle. We tie that in front of the yellow. You need to pluck any fibers from the yellow. Do it now. I got one that's sticking out at me. I'm going to take this off. Tie in the orange. Take 2 or 3 wraps of the orange in front of the yellow. Tie off the orange hackle. You can trim any errant hackle fibers, and then form a head. Because the fox compresses so nicely, you can get a nice small neat head on this fly. That's a little trickier to do with material like squirrel tail, which doesn't compress so well. Now I'll take a couple whip finishes. We'll apply lacquer. So I use 1 coat of thin head cement first to penetrate the head, then let that dry and go over it with a thicker lacquer like Sally Hansen's, like nail polish, to give that glossy coat. But it's very important to let the first coat dry sufficiently before adding the second coat. There it is, the Cascade. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.